Prime Field.
Welcome back to Prime Field, your ultimate destination for college basketball's most compelling stories. Today, we're diving deep into a transfer portal move that has the basketball world buzzing. Alabama forward Jarin Stevenson has just entered the transfer portal. But this isn't your typical transfer announcement. Stevenson has attached the rarely used Do Not Contact tag to his profile, sending ripples through this college basketball landscape, and leaving fans and analysts alike wondering, what exactly is this talented forward planning? For those who haven't closely followed Stevenson's journey, let's rewind. The versatile 6'11 forward showed flashes of brilliance during his time with the Crimson Tide. His combination of size, shooting touch, and defensive instincts made him an intriguing prospect with significant upside. But now, it seems, Stevenson's ready for a change of scenery, and he appears to already know exactly where he's headed. Think about it. When a player enters the transfer portal, it typically kicks off a recruitment frenzy. Coaches from across the country blow up their phones, slide into DMs, and make their pitches. It's college basketball's version of speed dating, with programs desperately trying to woo available talent. But Stevenson? He's essentially put up a Do Not Disturb sign on his portal profile. This Do Not Contact designation is the transfer portal equivalent of saying, I've got my next move planned, so save your breath. It's a power move that tells us Stevenson isn't interested in a wide-open recruitment. He's already locked in on his next destination. The question that has everyone speculating, where exactly is Stevenson headed? What program has already caught his eye? And what does this strategic approach tell us about how the modern transfer portal is evolving? What makes this move particularly fascinating is how it reflects the changing dynamics of college athletics. In today's NIL era, players have more control than ever over their careers. Stevenson isn't just passively entering the portal. He's orchestrating his future with precision. Imagine being a coach at a program that could desperately use a player of Stevenson's caliber. You see his name pop up in the portal, your heart races with excitement, and then you notice that Do Not Contact tag. It's like seeing your dream car with a sold sign already attached. As we've seen time and again here at Prime Field, the transfer portal has transformed college basketball into a year-round sport. The season may end in April with the cutting of nets, but the real chess match continues through spring and summer as rosters are rebuilt through the portal. So what exactly does Stevenson's portal strategy tell us about his mindset, and which lucky program appears to be the frontrunner for his services? Currently, the top 5 potential landing spots for Stevenson include North Carolina, Arkansas, Kansas, Michigan, and Virginia, with North Carolina being a particularly intriguing option, given their previous interest in him during his high school recruitment. That's exactly what we'll break down next, so stay with us as we investigate the implications of this fascinating transfer saga. Let's break down what this unusual tag actually signifies in the world of college basketball transfers. When a player attaches Do Not Contact to their portal entry, they're essentially sending a clear message to the college basketball community. I'm not interested in a traditional recruitment process. But why would a player like Stevenson choose this route? The answer reveals a fascinating strategic approach to the often chaotic transfer portal experience. First and foremost, this tag indicates Stevenson likely has a specific destination already in mind. Think about it. Why tell coaches not to contact you unless you've already got your next move planned? It's like walking into a restaurant having already decided what you're ordering. You don't need to see the menu. For Stevenson, this approach offers several advantages. He avoids the overwhelming flood of calls, texts, and pitches that typically bombard a player of his caliber upon entering the portal. Imagine your phone blowing up with messages from dozens of coaches, all making similar promises about playing time, development, and NIL opportunities. By using this tag, Stevenson sidesteps that entire exhausting process. But here's where it gets really interesting. The Do Not Contact tag doesn't prevent Stevenson from reaching out to programs himself. It's a one-way street that works in his favor. He can still initiate conversations with coaches at schools he's interested in, giving him complete control over his recruitment journey. This level of control represents a major shift in the power dynamics of college athletics. Just a few years ago, programs held all the cards in recruitment. Now, elite players like Stevenson can essentially handpick their destination, approaching schools from a position of strength rather than the other way around. For basketball insiders, this move suggests Stevenson is operating with confidence and clarity about his future. He's not throwing his name in the portal to test the waters or see what offers might come his way. He has a plan, and that plan almost certainly involves a program he's already had back-channel conversations with. Consider what this means from a program's perspective. If you're a coach seeing Stevenson in the portal with that tag, you're left wondering, is he coming to us? Or has one of our rivals already secured his commitment? It creates an interesting psychological effect across the coaching landscape, with speculation running wild about which program has the inside track. Now let's talk about what Stevenson brings to the table that makes him such a coveted transfer. At 6'11", he possesses that rare combination of size and skill that coaches dream about. His ability to stretch the floor with perimeter shooting while also protecting the rim makes him the prototype of the modern college basketball forward. During his time at Alabama, Stevenson demonstrated flashes of elite potential. While his statistics may not have jumped off the page, largely due to Alabama's loaded roster, scouts and coaches recognize the raw tools and basketball IQ that suggest his ceiling remains extraordinarily high. So which programs might be the fortunate recipient of Stevenson's talents? North Carolina, Arkansas, Kansas, Michigan, and Virginia are among the schools reportedly interested in him, with North Carolina being a particularly intriguing option given their previous interest during his high school recruitment, and what factors are likely guiding his decision-making process. That's exactly what we'll explore next, so stay with us as our Prime Field investigation continues. Now let's dive into the most exciting question. Where is Stevenson likely headed? While only Stevenson knows for certain which program has caught his eye, there are compelling indications pointing toward a few frontrunners. Let's break down the most likely landing spots and why they make sense for the talented forward. First up, the North Carolina Tar Heels. Several factors make UNC an intriguing possibility. Stevenson previously received an offer from the Tar Heels during his initial recruitment, indicating mutual interest. More importantly, North Carolina has a glaring need at the forward position following their recent disappointing NCAA tournament exit. Imagine Stevenson in Carolina Blue, filling that stretch forward role that has been so crucial to Hubert Davis's offensive system. With his shooting touch and defensive versatility, he could be the missing piece that helps the Tar Heels return to Final Four contention. Additionally, North Carolina's NIL collective has demonstrated they're willing to be aggressive for the right talent, but don't count out Tony Bennett and the Virginia Cavaliers. Virginia's methodical style of play could be the perfect fit for Stevenson's basketball IQ and defensive prowess. The Cavaliers have multiple roster spots available and are in desperate need of offensive firepower, something Stevenson could provide with his inside-outside scoring ability. Bennett is renowned for developing versatile forwards, and Stevenson's skill set aligns perfectly with the type of player who thrives in the pack line defense. A player of Stevenson's caliber could be the difference between Virginia returning to ACC championship contention or continuing to hover on the NCAA tournament bubble. Then there's the Michigan Wolverines, a program in transition looking to quickly rebuild under their coaching staff. Michigan desperately needs athletic, versatile forwards who can contribute on both ends of the floor, making Stevenson an ideal target. The Wolverines have been active in portal recruiting and could view Stevenson as a cornerstone piece for their resurgence. But here's where things get really interesting. Could there be a mystery team that nobody's talking about? The Do Not Contact tag opens the possibility that Stevenson might be headed somewhere unexpected, a program that has worked behind the scenes to establish a relationship and pitch their vision for his development. Let's consider what factors would likely influence Stevenson's decision. First and foremost, he's looking for immediate impact. After playing in a crowded rotation at Alabama, Stevenson is likely seeking a program where he can showcase his full arsenal of skills with significant playing time. Development is another crucial factor. Despite his obvious talents, Stevenson still has room to grow, particularly in creating his own shot and adding strength to his frame. Which coaching staff has convinced him they have the right development plan to maximize his potential? And we can't ignore the NIL factor in today's college basketball landscape. While compensation certainly isn't the only consideration, programs with robust NIL collectives have clear advantages in the transfer portal. Stevenson, like any modern athlete, will be looking for fair value for what he brings to a program both on and off the court. The geographic factor might also play a role. Could Stevenson be looking to move closer to home or to a region where he has the personal connections? These human elements often influence transfer decisions in ways that aren't immediately obvious to outside observers. The beautiful thing about Stevenson's do not contact strategy is that it keeps us all guessing while he maintains complete control over his process. In an era where information about recruits and transfers spreads instantaneously across social media, Stevenson has managed to keep his cards remarkably close to the vest. As we wrap up our analysis, let's zoom out and examine what this move tells us about the evolving landscape of college basketball transfers. Stevenson's approach represents the cutting edge of player empowerment in college athletics. Just a few years ago, the idea of a player entering the transfer portal with conditions attached would have seemed unthinkable. Today, it's a savvy strategy that reflects how the balance of power has shifted toward the athletes. Think about how drastically the transfer process has changed. In the past, transferring often came with significant stigma. Players were expected to stay at one school for their entire career, and those who transferred were sometimes viewed as quitters or problems. Today, the transfer portal has normalized movement between programs, with over 1,700 Division I players entering the portal this offseason alone. The portal has transformed into college basketball's version of free agency, complete with rankings, rumors, and behind-the-scenes dealings that rival any professional sports league. Stevenson's do not contact approach might represent the next evolution in this rapidly changing ecosystem. What makes this particularly interesting is how it highlights the underground recruitment that now takes place before players officially enter the portal. The communication between programs and potential transfers often begins well before any formal announcement. Stevenson's approach merely acknowledged this reality, bringing transparency to a process that typically happens in the shadows. For coaches, this represents yet another adaptation they must make in modern recruiting. The days of having complete control over roster construction are long gone. Now programs must navigate a complex web of this transfer portal strategy, NIL considerations, and the delicate balance between recruiting high school prospects and experienced transfers. Looking ahead, we might see more players follow Stevenson's lead. The do not contact tag essentially allows athletes to streamline what can otherwise be an overwhelming process. Rather than sorting through dozens of offers and pitches, players can focus on the programs they're genuinely interested in joining. From a fan perspective, transfer portal season has become almost as exciting as the actual basketball season. Each announcement creates ripple effects across the landscape, with programs scrambling to fill roster holes and establish championship-caliber rotations. Stevenson's move adds another layer of intrigue to this already fascinating process. What's most remarkable about Stevenson's approach is how it demonstrates the sophisticated understanding that today's athletes have about their value and options. These aren't just players moving between schools. They're young professionals making calculated career decisions with long-term implications for their development and future earnings potential. So while we eagerly await the official announcement of Stevenson's next destination, let's appreciate what his transfer portal strategy represents, a player taking full control of his journey through the often chaotic world of college basketball. Will other high-profile transfers adopt similar approaches in the future? Is the do not contact tag the beginning of a new trend in transfer portal strategy? And most importantly, which program will ultimately land Stevenson's coveted talents? The answers to these questions will unfold in the coming weeks, and you can count on Prime Field to bring you the latest developments as they happen. Until then, keep your notifications on and your eyes on the portal, because in today's college basketball landscape, roster-changing moves can happen when you least expect them. This has been a Prime Field exclusive analysis. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss our cutting-edge coverage of college basketball's most compelling stories. We'll see you next time